Fuck you. I did not mean to do that. Oh, my stream died? Fuck. It's not good. It's the kind of game it is. You know, it's spooky. There's like generally item management and you know what I mean? Like it yeah, I don't know. I feel like these old school games were survival horror. You're surviving, there's spooky elements, there's monsters, there's like item management. I don't know. It's just the classification of game that it fell over in the early 1990s. Well, we fucked that boss up. Maury, my fucking man, dude. What are you doing, dude? We actually, I usually have the grenade launcher for that fight, and I will say we fucked that dude up pretty good. Oh, what's been going on, man? Yeah, it's just the kind like that's that's what they call like the Resident Evil clones. I mean, that's just the genre that Capcom and everyone's always classified them as. I get that that might not be the case. Well, in RE2 and 3, I get what he's trying to say. I mean, you're a cop trying to survive and make it out of the city. And Aya Brea is, trying to put a stop to it. She's a hero. I get that. She's like the only one who can really stop Eve, but I mean at the same time, Chris and Jill were the only ones that could like stop Wesker. So initially I think the story started. So no way, dude. RE2 and 3 are fucking goaded to me, bro. Those are like my favorite ones. Yeah, it's just what they're classified as. Like this whole group of genres are like, for me they will be survival horror. The game starts out and it is, you're scared, you don't know what's going on, like as far as the cops are concerned. They're just trying to make it out of the mansion, but as the story progresses, it is kind of like this. They need to stop Wesker and prevent world domination. I mean, they kind of start as a different thing. But this game, I mean, she's an FBI agent going to deliberately hunt these monsters. I definitely get the argument. It's just that it's a loose term for what type of game it is. These games, you do have to, manage items and do all that stuff, and I think that's why it falls into that category. You're not just like this. It's not like some FPS like killing marathon, like for the most part. I mean, you do have to manage your items and be careful, and I think that's the survivalist part of it. Send the chopper. Exactly. When we were kids, RE2 and RE3 were groundbreaking. When I beat Resident Evil 1 when I was 7 years old, and that game changed my entire life. Like, I'd never even been scared before. I was just in love. And it really didn't even scare me because I loved the game so much. But those games, that was the official title of those genred games. They weren't just horror games; they were survival horror games. You're surviving, and if you want to use the term loosely too, we're surviving right now. You have to use med packs and heal, and I have to survive. Like, for whatever reason, I have to survive this mission, or you could twist it. It's easy to twist around. You know what I mean? But Silent Hill is very psychedelic and like unearthly compared to Resident Evil and Parasite Eve, just because it's way more psychological. So I always have said this too. I don't know if you guys have ever seen the Netflix show Sweet Home, but the first season is so much better. So what I liked about Resident Evil 1 more is I loved that it was contained. You're in this little house, you're by yourself, like, you know what I mean? Um and two, I mean, I know you're stuck in the police station, but you're still a part of like this huge city. RE1's atmosphere being in that little mansion was really good. Yeah, RE1 remake is fucking goaded, dude. And also, yeah, Parasite Eve is definitely more supernatural too. Even though they try and base it off science. Well, I mean, you did have a boogie one at the end of one though. I mean, the tyrant does. You have your fight in the lab, and then he busts through the roof, and even in RE1 remake, dude, the Crimson Heads were scary as fuck, bro. The zombies just like slinking back up from the dead on the ground. Um, but you've got to remember though, dude. So these games were like the very first PS1 games. Like all the actors for like the live action parts, like barely even remembered doing that and didn't even know that like it became anything. There's a lot of variables to like the word survival horror. It can mean so many different things. Like, you know what I mean? Hey, bro, me too. I'll fucking take a Parasite Eve remake any fucking time they're ready. I think eventually we have to stream the third birthday just so we have the collection down. But that game is not survival horror at all. Oh no, I agree. There's nothing supernatural in Resident Evil, but that's why I like it. It's realistic. It's a bunch of scared cops. It starts as a bunch of scared cops in a mansion not knowing what's going on. That's like the survival horror part. They're trying to figure a way to get out of there, you know? And even same thing too. I mean, think about how RE2 starts, you know? It's Claire and Leon and they're trying their best to get out of the city. And even RE3 starts out with Jill, you know, trying to get out of the city. She knows what's happening. She's trying to get the fuck out of there, you know? Um in two rooms, yes, but I mean there is the boogeyman aspect of like who's behind all of it, where it's coming from, why this was happening, you know what I mean? But I think it's a very loose terms, but I do like the confined area thing more than being stuck in the big city. I will agree with that. But yeah, there is nothing supernatural in Resident Evil. If it is in Silent Hill, it's and you same thing, especially with Evil Within. Evil Within is super psychological too. No, I think he was saying Parasite Eve is more supernatural than Resident Evil. But then again, Resident Evil does some weird supernatural shit too because if you take, you know, RE8 into consideration, that game's like almost supernatural too, like with its weird bullshit in the haunted dollhouse and that lady being able to like manipulate your mind into being in the dollhouse and I don't know. There's just this is such like a crazy debate to have, and it's over a title. You know, that's it's just the genre of games that it is. It got coined that in 1998 when it was a simpler time. These games were new to the market. I don't know how old you are, blind, but for me, dude, when you know 7, 8, Silent Hill, Resident Evil, all these games, Alone in the Dark, they were all grouped into that genre. They were survival horror games. It all came down to item management and you typically trying to get survive long enough to get the fuck out of wherever you were. I think that's where it came from. Yeah, exactly. You know, they really tried to base Parasite Eve off of like science at first, you know? Yeah. Yeah, it's still considered survival horror, even though it's, you know, supernatural for sure. And like Evil Within is a good example of it too. It's still look, survival is it's such a broad term. It could mean anything. I think we can all agree it's horror, right? As far as body horror or psychological horror, or there's a billion horror. 100% all of these games can be considered horror, but and all of them can be considered survival too. You're trying not to die or make it through something, or survival doesn't even have to pertain to you. You know, by the time Chris and everybody else are in RE5, they started an organization to survive. You know, like the world's going to end unless they put a stop to these people. It's their goal. And I mean, the same could be said for Aya Bray. You know, if she knows these monsters are getting out of control, whether she's you know, a hunter or not, I mean, she's still trying to preserve and survive and, you know, stick up for humanity or whatever to me, you know. It's okay. So I agree that okay here. All right, Parasite Eve 2 is a Resident Evil clone, but I also, and I'm saying this confidently, okay, the gameplay in Parasite Eve 2 is much more fun because the variety, the magic spells, the things that you can do, all of the RPG elements. I agree. It's much more. Obviously, you know, Parasite Eve 1 is much more of an RPG. It's literally like a turn-based RPG. This one's just a lot looser and a little bit closer to traditional Resident Evil. But I do consider these RPGs as well. I think they're both. I think these games are so cool and so unique. They don't get one title. I don't think that Parasite Eve is just survival horror. It's absolutely a fucking RPG too. I do agree with that. Manage the scarce items, and everybody is trying to survive. There's always some doom and gloom, crazy fucking thing happening that they're trying to prevent and or run away from. You know, Resident Evil 3. Jill was 100% trying to run away from Nemesis the entire fucking time. And same thing with the Tyrants and RE2 and Birkin and everything else, too. I think the mission changes a little bit throughout the game where yeah, at first they're just trying to get the fuck out of there and they see how close to home everything is happening and realize they could put a stop to it. So it kind of turns into like a little bit of a superhero story too, just like Aya. I'm sure she is just like, what the fuck is going on at first, but she had the immunity to be able to do something about it, and she's a total badass, so she did. Um, but yeah, I don't know. It's so hard to have an argument on it because it's such a loose term. But that's not even like the hard thing. Like there's weapon variety in the game, and that's cool. But it's this game is very much more an action game than it is like a survival horror game. But it is a horror game, and you are trying to survive. Like, you know what I mean? Regardless of how many weapons that you have, and yeah, it's not scarce at all. But I just hope you're seeing the point. This is kind of like a pointless argument to like have over here. You know what I mean? Parasite Eve 1 is definitely more of an RPG. Very, very much so. It's turn based for Christ's sake. Like, you know what I mean? And but this game could fall under 40 fucking genres if it wanted to. I use the term survival horror roots because that's what we grew up on. Like when I've been playing this game for 23 years or something like that. Like literally. And it's just always fallen under the survival horror category for me. But just you having ammo throughout the game, like even if it's a lot, I mean you're still surviving and you have to manage ammo until you get to those spots and we're pros though. This is coming from us. The normal human might not think about shit like this. Like, you know what I mean? And even though we have infinite like backup ammo, we know how to use them. A lot of people might be like, "Oh fuck, I only have like 8 shotgun shells or I didn't pick up the black card key," or it could be a lot different for everybody, you know? And if we put this on scavenger mode, then it becomes a lot different too. But it's all good. Like, it's all good. Is people are totally allowed to have different opinions and the bottom line is this game does fall into like a million different categories and that's why it's goated. The people that have actually given Parasite Eve 2 a chance fucking love this game because it's awesome. It covers so many bases and it covers them so well. It is. It's just, and they improved upon it. Resident Evil 3 is one of my favorite games of all time, and it's simple. It's a point and click. It has a cool dodge mechanic. I love Nemesis. I love the designs of the creature. I like the story. I like Jill. I love Resident Evil 3, the old one, a lot. I really do. It's like one of my top favorite games, but it's really hard to compare the two because the shooting feels just as solid in this game. There's still critical hits. There's still stuff like that. But dude, A has you know 3, 6, 9. She's like 12 different spells that fucking completely change the game, and enemies like actually have weaknesses and ways to beat them, like stupid spiders or the beetles that you can flip over and like shoot their bellies. There's not really shit like that in Resident Evil. Like they tried really hard to make like the best game they could and show Capcom like, hey, fuck you, we can do it too. And they can, I mean, but Parasite Eve 2 is kind of like a bad example too, because as long as you like remember where they are and it's a frequent stop on your way, I mean you'll have infinite ammo the whole game. Doesn't mean you'll have great ammo the whole game. I don't have fucking infinite slugs the entire game to kill all the golems. But if you're careful and you save your ammo like you're supposed to, just and use it in the right places, then yeah, it's doable, it's easy. But yeah, it's so hard because these games have such a big umbrella under them. But look, when I say that, just so we're totally clear, survival horror was the term that we have always used for these games growing up, and I've been playing them literally for almost 25 years. I've like been playing these games. I'm 34. So and this game came out in 99. I beat this game when I was 10. So yeah, dude, like I this is just what we've always done it. Like any magazine, anything ever that we grew up on, Resident Evil, there were a couple games before that might have coined it quicker, but I feel like Resident Evil was the first one to bring it into the mainstream, and every subgenre or copycat or clone or anything just fell under that umbrella, you know? But I'm just saying there's, to us that's just a term. That's all it is. I hope you understand, Archer. 100% same thing. Yeah, me too. It's just that's the kind of game it is. It's a I could call it a spooky game, I could call it a horror game, I could call it a survival game, I could call it an action game. It doesn't matter. And not only that, things change too. Think about like, punk and hardcore. Like, it just used to be punk rock and now there's all these subdivisions and all these other things that is kind of like molded into and take a direction, you know what I mean? Exactly, dude. Things change though too. Nowadays, in the olden days, this game 100% would have just been called a survival horror game. Nowadays, it would be called survival horror slash action RPG. Like that's what they 100% would try and tack on that. I definitely see your side of it, blind, but coming from like a bunch of old dudes, it was just simple. Oh, Parasite Eve 2. Oh yeah, it's a survival horror game. Blah blah blah. Monsters and spooky and blah blah blah. That would have been like the end of the argument. Yeah, and that's what I just said too. I'm sure they've used that before. I know there was games like Sweet Home and stuff like that too, where definitely before RE, I just don't think it became like a big hit and into the mainstream until literally like, yeah, dude, Dead Space is another good example. Yeah, you have ammo, but it's scarce, and like even Resident Evil 4 is set up so like if you have too much ammo, it doesn't drop a lot of ammo. Like you pick up coins and like other little useless shit instead. They don't want you to have an abundance of ammo, and some companies do it a lot better. But that is a genre. Survival horror is a genre. It's generally an action adventure spooky game. That's whether it has survival or. Generally, we do let links go through, but you guys, I am exhausted right now. I have to go to bed real quick. I love you guys to pieces. We'll find somebody to rate. If you want to send a link though, Maury, yeah, 100%. I'll check it out real quick before I go to bed. Um, but yeah, dude, I was only gonna stream for like 2 hours, and we're going on five, and I have work tomorrow. So yeah, shoot it over. I'll check it out though. Alan Wake's a good one too. Evil Within, exactly. But dude, they're just terms. Well, all right. So horror, yeah. I mean, there's some spooky enemies and some spooky bosses, and you know what I mean. There definitely is. Just because we're not afraid of them doesn't mean my girlfriend wouldn't fucking shit her pants when fucking Bowman like dropped through the ceiling and fucking slammed like eye in the stomach. My girlfriend would have freaked the fuck out when that happened. You know what I mean? Brahmin, the end boss, like how creepy that looks. Dude, think about Parasite Eve 1. That rat fucking transformation scene was so ahead of its time. Think about the very first cutscene in Parasite Eve 2 when you walk in and that girl sitting at the coffee table and she fucking transforms into that thing. Fuck yeah, that's horror. Straight fucking body horror. And it is awesome. And it is. Game is good. That's all that matters. Call it whatever you want to. Nothing's gonna offend me. Oh, I'll definitely read that real quick. But like this doesn't matter to me. Oh, of course, because now I'm ending the stream and I turn green, and that's how you guys know. But yeah, it doesn't matter, man. There's like, no one's heated, no one's anything. But 100%. In the first scene in this game too, when that girl's like, see, now we're just debating over a little dumb shit though, blind. Just so you know, Yes, the first cutscene, then there's the falling shot. Yes, but like the first big memorable, important cutscene, the second little enemy that you fight real quick, you fight the first little one outside, you walk back in, and that girl sitting at the table and transforms and into like the NMC. 100%, they're trying to set the tone for a horror game, like right there. They're setting it as a survival horror game right from that tone, like right from there. But none of this shit even matters. Like the whole argument is so redundant because it's over a name of a franchise that could very easily change again. You know, in the next 10 years there could be so many more subgenres of games or bullshit or anything else. Like there's none of it even matters. It's a great game. We all love it, you know? That's all that matters. People can call it whatever they want to. You get those rats painted at the marks at the shooting range for a reason. Yeah, well, because you're a hunter, right? Like that's why they're painted. Yeah, I'm definitely missing like how you said that. We are. Yeah, exactly. Like you know what I mean. It really doesn't matter. And that I agree with. Yes, Parasite Eve is a racing game now. Fuck it, we're going in, bro. Hey, but that's not funny. That's not funny, some dude, because Ibre was a fucking character in Chocobo Racing. Bye, Maury. Love you, buddy, and thank you for coming to say hi, man. Sorry, this is like turned into like a weird last minute debate, but yes, no, that is a good symbol for how far she's come. She's not a victim, but she never really was a victim anyway. She's been a badass since day one, you know. But actually, Parasite Eve was a playable character in her police car in Chocobo Dungeon. So actually, Ayabre has been in a racing game before, believe it or not, dude. I don't know if you knew that or not, some dude, but she's 100. Yeah, dude. So they don't actually show her in the car, but it is. It's Ayabre's police car. She was a cop car. No, she was. She's a fucking cop car. It was Aya Brea's character. She's just in a little cop car in Chocobo's Racing. I'm not even playing with you at all, dude. I'm not even playing with you. But it's all good. You know, it's okay to disagree. We can have different opinions, and that's what makes the world great. And I do agree with your last statement. She's not, but I mean, she's never praying and really, anyways, she's just always been a badass. You know, she hunts NMCs like that's her job. You know what I mean? She does. She's always been a badass. You know, she didn't fucking run from Eve and the place lighting on fire or her transforming or anything. She was like, "Square up, bitch. Square the fuck up," you know? But I'm not, dude. Look it up. But what really sucks is they could at least put like a cute little chibi head like on the police car or something. They didn't. They were so lazy about it. They were like, "Yo, it's SquareSoft. It's fucking 1998 or whenever Chocobo's Dungeon came out." They were like, "Put fucking Aya in a police car. She's a character now." They had Cloud on his little motorcycle too. I played the new Chocobos Racing too. It was actually really fun. It just died so fast. They like ended service and everything. It just really sucked. But I did like that game, but it was full of fucking microtransactions, dude. They fucked up so bad from day one. They're like, here's a free version if you guys want it, but you need $40 to play as a character. It's like, god damn. But yeah, dude, you know what? It's totally okay to fucking disagree, and you know what I mean. We're all good. We all love each other. We can call things what they want, and none of it's gonna bother me. I look at it like punk rock, man. There are 5,000 fucking subgenres of punk rock or metal or hardcore or there's bluegrass, there's jazz, like you know what I mean? It's all the same shit. There's spooky games where you shoot monsters or zombies generally, and item management either is or isn't a thing or whatever. But none of that was that important, 20 years ago. It was the style of game that everybody had to try and make. And, yeah, dude, they were. I don't even know. Who should, do you have anybody that we should raid right now? I can either raid Justin Wong or Montana Recreations. Do you have anybody, some dude that's like maybe a smaller streamer? There's like 8 of us. We could raid somebody. Yeah, exactly. You know what I mean? It's like, it's just, for me, I can't get hung up on that kind of shit. I just don't give a fuck. Survival horror to me will always be fucking the anything from 90 to 2000 that had guns and monsters in it. I mean, that was the genre that Game Informer, that the president of the United States, that fucking everybody used. It is what it is. But yeah, dude, some dude, Maury, um, Blind Dope, you guys have a good night, man. Be safe. Um, he's playing Virtual Fighter 5. Nasty Arcade TV. All right, have a good night, though, Blind. I'll see you, buddy. He's playing. Yeah, let's rate him, man. If he's a small streamer, I'd love to rate him. Help him out for sure, 100%, man. But sleep good, Blind, and you too, Maury. And some dude, hit me up tomorrow, man. If you want to run some sets, I'm not working tomorrow, so maybe we could. I don't know, man. Maybe we can go get stomped together at Armored Core or something. His name, dude. Your homie's name, Nasty Arcade TV. What the fuck? Yeah, he's got 20 people on. This is fine. Yeah, let's rate him. Sounds good to me. It's like always rather rate a small homie than, you know what I mean? Oh, let me get my phone in so I can at least jump in and say hi. But dude, I have to send you a message and nerd out on you in a few minutes about my new Digivice. You've got to fucking get one of these, some dude. I'm telling you, bro. It's made me like work out like for the first time in a while. Like I can't believe this stupid little device has like made me start taking better care of myself. I gotta show you some cool shit about this thing, man. Where's my phone? I need to find my phone before I can fucking raid this guy. I don't fucking know. Where's my goddamn phone? All right, well, whatever. We're raiding it, but I'll see you in a few, dude.